All right. Obviously, tough loss yesterday. Obviously, the big injury news that's come out today. Mike will go to IR. Don't have any further information on some of those type of things, but just putting out that he'll go to IR, so that'll be at least a 4-week deal. If anything comes up after that, obviously got some second opinions. There'll be a bunch of different things that has to go on over the next couple of course of the days and figure out what else that is. And we do got some good news coming back with obviously Divine coming back and some of those other guys from last week. But Drake, another big one from yesterday. He'll be probably week to week and how that thing looked. So we'll kind of figure that out. It's kind of the presence we kind of use when we don't know. But we'll see. You never know. Drake can come back tomorrow and feel a lot better, but we'll get a feel for how that goes, and he'll be a week-to-week guy. That's probably the major ones you want to talk about.
Yeah, Coach, could you elaborate on Michael's injury and the transition that you all have to make at the position?
Really can't elaborate on the injury because don't know much more than what I just said about him going down, getting a second opinion, doing those type of things. But definitely the transition to be going to Kirk, getting a chance to get Kirk out there as a starting quarterback. He'll go through all the rotations this week. He'll go through everything that we need to get done in order for him to go out there and, get a win for the football team and for us. And that's what the transition will be to Kirk.
Is he getting a second opinion on possibly a partially torn ACL? Is that what the second opinion is on? Can you confirm that?
I don't want to say that, because that's just not my place to say yet. I want those guys to get a chance to look at it and see it, go look in it and get all the details about it, give them an opportunity to do it. And definitely when I find out, I'll update it. We're not trying to hide anything from you guys, but I want to make sure before we actually confirm anything about your quarterback.
Diablo is returning? Or
Diablo will be back this week. Get a chance to open up the window and get a chance to go.
Is there a concern that Mike could be gone for the rest of the season?
There's always concern. Anytime you put anybody on IR with all our guys, there's always a concern about that. Hurting for the young man, especially how well he's playing at the beginning of that football game, really finding his groove. I like this week of preparation. I like the way he went through everything. I like how he was prepared at a very high level. I like how he took a lot of ownership on it last week and really was ready to have a bounce-back week. And it's heartbreaking for him to go out and get hurt. And there's always a concern of any of those type of things of missing time.
And I just want to confirm, so you say Diablo's back, so are you saying he's going to be playing on Sunday, or just that you're opening his 21-day window?
We'll definitely open the window, and assuming everything goes well, he should be back playing.
Can you clarify the timeline for the second opinion on Mike? I'm just trying to understand. I mean, there have been points this year the injury reporting has been uneven, and I just want to understand the timeline and what we can expect to know and when.
I don't know that. Obviously you got the second opinion. Obviously those second opinions got to come from outside the building. And we'll just wait on those things. And as soon as I get it, I'll definitely get that stuff to you guys or David to put something out for sure.
When it comes to a knee, especially someone like Michael who has had a history of knee issues, I asked about the rest of the season, but could there also be concerned about spring program, training camp, that type of thing? Is that something that you guys are even considering yet or concerned about yet?
Yeah, obviously that's going to come with the second opinion. That's going to come with everything that we have going on. So, these guys, it's just the process you go through. Yesterday comes out of the game, had a chance to return. We didn't rule them out. And then you got to go through the stuff this morning with all the imaging and all the things that has to happen, the second opinions, and when those things get back to us, we'll let you guys know.
And then with Drake, it's his right knee or his left?
I'm not sure it's which knee. It was I'm not sure the extra side of the knee, but it was definitely the knee. He banged up and be a week-to-week thing for us.
David Bussey, as you know, which knee?
What's that?
Which knee for Drake's left knee? Left knee for Drake.
Mike's injury is the same knee that the bone bruise was on.
Mm-hmm.
Are they related in any way?
I don't want to answer that. I don't know if they're related. I think they're always kind of some ways around that stuff, and definitely could be. And those are doctor-like questions, but for sure we'll get all that information to you as we get it.
So you thought he could come back in yesterday, and I saw he finished the game on the sideline. So he wasn't in a ton of pain.
He was definitely out there, and he wasn't sure. He just didn't feel as stable as he wanted it to, and so we had to keep him alive, so to speak, in the game. And so we got a feel this morning, and obviously it's going to be an IR situation required for us to put him on. So that's what we'll do.
And he had an MRI here this morning.
He did it this morning.
What did you tell the team this morning, and then what was your message for the team meeting?
we keep letting these opportunities slip between our fingers and our hands and whatever else you want to say. And we gotta go out there and we gotta win these football games. And the guys can, and they're capable of doing it. You know, the way we started the game yesterday, not exactly the 3-and-out or how we started on the long drive, give the touchdown, but what we got going right after that, you know, being able to go down and score on 3 consecutive drives, you know, getting that thing to 21, being able to get a bunch of major stops on defense, you know, going to the halftime with a lead. And we got to go out there and win these football games that we're capable of winning because we can. We got enough people. We got enough guys. We got all hands on deck, everything we need. And they know it. And we got to go win these football games.
With 5 straight losses and then, you know, you lose your quarterback, obviously this is not the greatest situation. How do you kind of recenter folks? How do you kind of get guys back on track?
You know, obviously it hurts your heart when your quarterback goes down, or anybody in your football team, any of your guys. That's definitely always one of those things was going to be harmful. But you got to recenter, you got to focus, you got to go with the next man up mentality. You got to lean on, you know, other people, other places to be able to go find a way to get those things done. You know, you got really good football players here, whether you're talking about Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, you know, you're talking about Mooney, you're talking about Kyle Pitts, and you got all these people that are really healthy that can go out there and lead you. And we'll let the guys go lead us and get that thing done.
Is Kurt going to be that to have a kind of a stabilizing force in this type of situation?
You know, Kurt is. You know, Kurt's been the guy that's been able to go out there and start a lot of games in the league. He started a lot of games for us. He got us to a nice start last year. And now he got an opportunity to sit back and watch and really grow. And got to get him going this week. Go out there and lead the football team.
How did Brooks and Harrison play for you guys that got extended play counts yesterday?
You know, obviously everybody had really good moments and we had some poor moments. You know, Harrison had a lot of really good moments, a lot of big-time plays, a lot of tackles, a lot of production. You know, there's always going to be moments that you want back, particularly that last play on defense or close to the last play on defense when they got the big play, big explosive. Brooks went out and made a few plays, gave up a few plays, you know, but he fought. And it wasn't always going to be the best game for everybody, but you got to go out there and fight, and they did that. And you got to give those guys credit for that. But, you know, obviously you want more and you need more in order to get a win.
Kind of on that same note, Kobe Bryant got his first
He did.
at NFL action. What do you see from him?
I think he played about 11 snaps. He was able to go out there and really have the thing that's most noticeable was probably the big-time third down stand-up when he's covering the tight end man-to-man, and then got us to that 4th and 1, which Caden Ellis made the great play on for us. He actually made a play down, backed up on another third down where he was able to make a tackle, get off the grass, and he really went out there and contributed on some special team stuff as a holdup, as a gunner. So I saw a lot of good things from Kobe, a lot of growth, a lot of development from that young man.
With Mike and Drake out, do you lean more on the run game? And do you saw that start to emerge?
It's fair to say that. You know, you got 2 of your better players out in your passing game. When you talk about your quarterback, you talk about Drake. You definitely got to lean more on Bijan. Definitely got to lean more on Tyler and all those things, and definitely Kyle Pitts and some of those other guys. But fair question.
About your job security at this point?
That's what we do. You know, in this business, that's just a part of it, right? You always think about that like just a part of it. You know, that's our job. Our job is winning, and that's what we're supposed to do. And that's always going to be something that you can talk about.
Is there a more specific explanation of what Drake is dealing with? What is the actual injury other than knee?
He's a knee. You know, obviously it's a PCL, and he's had it before. Done some of those things, so we'll kind of just let that thing roll with that.
Will your record in playoff positioning have anything to do with the decision to bring Mike back or not in Week 16? Will it be strictly if he can play, he'll play, or might you decide if you're eliminated from the playoffs that you would give him more time?
You know, I haven't gone really past this game. You know, like getting ready for New Orleans, I know he won't be ready to play that game. And then obviously we got 4 weeks that we know we put him on IR for sure. Other than that, we're waiting back for some opinions. We're waiting back for the people to tell us exactly what it is and what it's going to look like. And as soon as we get that information, we'll give it to you guys.
Do you give him direction on where to go for a second opinion, or is that completely his decision?
A lot of those things with second opinions, you know, obviously we have our people here that look at it. And then obviously all these guys have agents, and all the agents have different people to look at, sometimes multiple, when you talk about some of the second opinions. So they'll get those things done. If direction's ever needed from us, we certainly can recommend. But usually those recommendations come from agents. Those recommendations come from the player. And those are all the things that is kind of normal on a week-to-week basis when you're talking about the injury and dealing with that, Josh.
With the change in quarterback, will the offense have to look different? You're going from a lefty to a righty. You're going from a guy who's more primarily in the pistol versus a guy who, spent more time in his career under center. You can't run the same exact set of plays, right? So the offense is going to look a little different this week. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, it's fair to say it'll look different. Obviously with Kurt and Mike, different playing styles, definitely look a little bit different. What Kurt can do really well, that's what we'll try to do. The things that he does well, the thing that he did well for us when he was starting, some of the things he's done in his past, we'll be able to do some of those things. We'll definitely bounce back and definitely get some, have an ability to sit down and talk with him throughout the course of the week. But definitely fair to say that it'll look different than what it looked with Mike. You named a lot of the differences, left-sided offense, right-sided offense, some of those different things, but they'll look a little different.
Have you personally spoken with Kirk, and kind of what was his reaction now that all the reports are out and the next 4 weeks are kind of?
Just spoke to everybody as a team today. It was kind of a group team. More so, spent more time, with Mike, talking with him a little bit more, just on a one-on-one basis. Just hurting for the young man. We'll move forward as we move forward through the course of the day and tomorrow and as we get into Wednesday's practice and some of those different things. And we'll get a chance to talk with Kurt and as we get him back in the building.
Did you have a chance to get Matthew Bergeron back?
That's another guy. Looked good towards the end of the week. Obviously he's feeling a lot better. So I'm very hopeful that we get a chance to get him back this week.
Last time you had Kirk as a starter and Drake, I believe, was that Miami game.
Yes.
Where the offense really struggled. How do you make sure you don't have that kind of repeat offensive performance this week?
Yeah, the only thing you can do is go to practice and make sure you can go get all of the things you need necessary to get it done. There was a lot of limbo that week throughout the course of the week. This week right now, there won't be any limbo. You'll be out there. We'll be able to plan accordingly and go about our process accordingly. Full week, full work week with all the guys working together.
Mike Hughes and D. Alford, any news on them?
D obviously got to clear the concussion protocol. Mike's feeling a lot better. Don't have a true blue. We're back. Have a feeling a lot better about those guys being back.
Mike has no surgery planned at this point, no procedure planned at this point that you know of.
Again, all we have, Josh, not being frustrated with you, but all we have right now is we put him on IR. We're waiting a second opinion. We're allowing those guys and giving them peace to go through the due process and due diligence. And as soon as we have anything, I promise you, we'll give it to you.
Anything else? Yeah,
Yes.
looking at the receiver room now with Drake injured, it's pretty weakened. And Ray McLeod was a huge part of this receiver room last year. Don't you miss him? Don't you wish you had a receiver like him to play this week? I know I think performance-based, but
I got a lot of confidence in David Seals going out there and being a step up for us and do some really good things. We got to get Mooney to bounce back and do a lot of things for us that we want him to do. Obviously, Kyle Pitts plays a factor into that receiver room. Bijan plays a factor into that receiver room. Some of the things he's able to do, and we got a bunch of people that need some opportunities, and they'll get them. We'll find out about a lot of our guys this week. We'll get a chance to look at those guys and work. It's not that you don't want the production from those guys. I think you can get the production from those guys. I think we all was going to make decisions based off performance base. There's always going to be those ways, but you're definitely going to miss Drake. Obviously, he's been super productive. He's been outstanding for us all year. He's an emotional leader for us. He's our barnyard bully. He's a tough guy, and he certainly will be missed.
When Darnell broke his collarbone over the summer, was there any consideration to bringing in more veteran faces to that?
It wasn't you mean first day of training camp?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, first day of training camp. Obviously did, and we knew how we would get him back. We had the plan. Obviously you knew it would take the course of the training camp. We knew it would take about 4 weeks for him to get back into the play speed. Had the unfortunate hamstring, so you really didn't feel like you would miss much, and you felt like we'd be able to carry the load for him up until that point. So no, we felt like we had everything we needed in the building to get it done, and unfortunately it hadn't panned out for us the right way.
We saw you had to talk to Drake to kind of calm him down a little bit yesterday, but is there a part of you that sort of, did you like seeing that with the team struggling right now?
Yeah, Drake's a dog, but taunting was of emphasis of the league yesterday. And it was something that was brought to our attention. Obviously, they're always going to give you things that are always the emphasis. And I was just making sure we didn't cross the line. So when I'm talking to Drake, you definitely love who Drake is, what they do, how they go about their business, the intensity that he brings to the game. But I just wanted to make sure we didn't cross the line where it goes into the taunting phase where you can hurt your team. And that was all that was with Drake. It was less about calming him down. It was more about letting him know what the emphasis was. Let's make sure we don't go and cross a line of to a penalty.
I know y'all been busy today with the quarterback, but the Saints are coming up. What are you see from them? I know they were rested coming off of a win.
Yeah, they had a big-time win versus Carolina. When it's a young team with a young coach, and they've gotten better throughout the course of the year. And it'll be, one of our bigger rivals, and we got to go down there and get a win.
And the quarterback change there is that he's a little bit older kid, but.
Yeah, he's a young kid. Obviously went out there and played well. Got a lot of respect for both of those guys. Got a chance to look at both of those guys coming out. Clearly, young man, Rattler that played, the year before. I looked at him extensively a bunch. So we know a lot about him. And then now Tyler, Show is going out there and done some good things, obviously getting them a win.
What have you seen just specifically from James and Jalen, just in the way that they've progressed? I mean, statistically, it seems like they're making a big impact there. But what have you seen from them from your side?
I think they've just been getting better, every single week. Jalen started off, really playing really well in the run game, really strong, really physical, throwing people around. He found some pass rush, and then he was able to go and really get out the passer and really apply pressure and do some really good things for us that way. James started off where he was really affecting the game as a pass rusher first, and now I'm starting to see his run game just grow and grow into a more physical player, knowing the style of play. Some of the things that he's getting from his guys and some of the things that he's been able to contribute. And those guys going out there and contribute every single week. I think James had a sack yesterday, a big time, what would have been a sack and a 2-point play. Obviously, they don't count, but I thought it was a great rush. I thought it was some great moments out there for him. And Jalen's had those similar moments just at different times. They've just been out there playing at a really high level, and they're going to be really talented, good football players for a long time for us.